Greetings. Is it our turn to go?
We can yield to that, Zile Esmee. So, do you have a message for us?
If we do, are you ready to hear it?
I'll strap myself, as others for sure will.
Is the picture and sound to your liking?
The sound is good. The picture is magnificent.
Thank you. To soothe the channel's physical mind and the synchronicity that brought this interaction in this way. Our message this day of your time is about allowing the synchronicity and viewing each and every detail that occurs that you would usually label as non-preferred, rather as you, from a different perspective and a different vantage point, being in the exact right place at the exact right time, as we've demonstrated this evening. Once you embrace this, you allow yourself to see what is obvious. We could say more. However, we are very excited to get to your questions, so we will allow the other to speak.
You are muted, Ajax.
Does anybody want to step to make a question, please?
He's here. Ajax is back.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Yes, thank you.
Greetings and salutations to you all. We are particularly pleased to always be present and able to participate in these particular interactions and energy exchanges. We remind you all that this particular year of 2025 is a threshold point in your individual and collective journeys. And as was brought up earlier in conversation, fear will be rising. Fear will be brought up. This is not to at all be a means by which to frighten you. This is so that you can truly, truly get it out of your system, allow you to deal with the fact that it is simply a perception you hold of your own power. It is you seeing through your belief systems how a situation is unfolding and giving it a particular perspective. We encourage you all in this time to share that which you can with your communities, with each other, lovingly, unconditionally, and painting with the palette that is of your passions the landscape of your dreams as you move deeper and deeper into fourth density. We will pause here.
Is Ajax prepared to answer some questions?
Indeed.
I'm going to make the rounds here and ask some people to step forward. I think that Irini may have a question.
Well, aren't you just psychic?
Oh,
I
how
was
psychic
actually
of you, not psychic of
was
us.
I was deliberating to not ask this question, and I decided not to until you just made that statement, which means that I should ask it. Within the past week, I have made a very, very powerful and very overwhelming connection to a very ancient civilization, and their energy is very different. It's very unique. It's not something that I have ever experienced before. And it happened at the same time that I have started to offer a new service in what I do on my website. That service is to help people make connections with extraterrestrial and interdimensional beings. And when I offered this new energy came through, and I got the distinct sense, they said that I had been opened up to a frequency, and I get the sense that that frequency is going to, or is enabling me to help people make communication with
Absolutely.
races that are not even remotely related to what we know as more humanoid and what would be more comfortable as humanoid. They are so alien and so different, some of these races that are coming through, that part of me feels like I'm entering this role to help people make connections to these civilizations that are extremely alien to ours. And I feel like I'm being pulled into this interesting black hole. And that's happened over the last 6-7 days, this revelation. And I would love your feedback on it.
Yes, well, hopefully you are not feeling too bugged out by this particular new connection. You are right on the money. Your intuition is paying off here. You are drawing into your reality this particular connection because it is of your passion to help spread this information throughout your reality. What is it that you are concerned with in this particular interaction? For it sounds to us like it might just be a joyous exploration, a joyous expansion. So why do you bring it up here other than to share?
I have worked very hard on putting out energy and not having any expectations, but being human I am, I can't help having my expectations. So I expected, when helping my clients to make connections with extraterrestrial beings, they would be civilizations that I had heard of or would be more familiar with, and they're not. They
Drop,
are
drop
very radically
expectations.
different. Yeah.
Drop them.
And
You are
that's what I
exploring.
did. I dropped the expectations, and then I started to realize one civilization was an energy that simply came in and explored every cellular structure of my being. And it was a form of communication that I've never had before. And it was beautiful. It was very different, and it was very alien. And I never expected to be a conduit to such alien types of civilization. And so it's kind of put me in a different direction as to what I thought I would be doing. And I'm just starting to get used to the thought of that, because I actually feel more comfortable the more different and alien it is, which is such a shock to me, but it makes me more comfortable being around alien, more ancient and different energy than it would be ones that I'm more familiar with. which struck me as very strange.
Because it is part of your natural expression. You are experiencing in this carnation that which you experience as alien to some extent. And that which you are perceiving here in this connection feels more like home to you in certain levels. We would say that opportunity here has come knocking at your door. So simply allow yourself to continue that exploration, continue your astral explorations that have enabled you to bring this connection into being and further expand that imaginative channel which has brought into this state those connections. You are doing just fine. Keep exploring, drop the expectations, and allow it to unfold with surprise and delight, just as you would any great game.
I will certainly do that. Thank you so much.
You are most welcome.
Beautiful. Ray, you're next.
Maybe add a perspective to Irene's question.
Yes, of course.
Humanity is moving into a new era. And we paraphrase here, only human. Oh, as humans, we do. Might we suggest that the next time these words are said by any, not just Irene, it is the version of humanity that you prefer, talking from a vantage point of the versions of yourselves that you prefer, the enlightened beings that you are becoming. While this language may aid and assist in day-to-day conversations with others who may not be so conscious in their creations, might we suggest that it is time to let go of this language? Thank you for allowing us to contribute in this way.
It's funny that you say, let go of the language, because in the civilization that contacted me, when I was trying to ask them questions, the answers were coming faster than I could form the questions, and they found it comical that I chose to think the way that I think, because thought process takes far too long, and they have started to train me in foregoing the thought process because it's archaic. They considered our normal thought process very archaic, and they actually found it humorous that we have to think a thought and speak it. And they waved it and dismissed it as something very comical and said, no, 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 this is what we're going to do now. So it's funny that you said that.
And are you embracing this new way of interaction?
It is difficult to get used to because it's like the speed of, I know I should take that back. It is a challenge that I'm overcoming. I'm adapting to it quite quickly. Instead of thinking a thought, I impress it as an impulse. They're teaching me how to send an impulse of light, and they're showing me a specific rays of light and how to weave the light and put the thought in the light, and it's instant, which is so new to me. But they explained that's why I'm so interested in sacred geometry, and that's why I teach sacred geometry, because it's the geometry of light and learning how to use that geometry to structure the thought and instantly impulse it. And so that's what we're playing with right now.
Yes, as one who teaches, remember to impart this new knowing of new vocabulary with those that you interact with, and expand and integrate it within your own beingness. Is this something that you can put into action?
It's becoming strangely challenging because I'll, for example, get a call from a friend and I'll be so frustrated that the entire conversation didn't happen in an instant and that I couldn't just instantly translate to them the thought, and then realizing that I can't, this person needs to hear the words and receive the words, but it's happening so quickly that I want to instantly translate everything in at the speed of the thought. And I can't with people around me. And so it's quite comical that now I've got this dichotomy going of speaking to beings in an instant, but not able to do that with somebody who knocks on my front door. It's like this very strange thing that's happening.
Yes, but you are a bridge as well as most of you in this gathering. Our question then becomes, the words that you still find useful to communicate with others, will you then be able to let go of the insistences and the limitations with these words so that you are better able to communicate more accurate and in a more preferred manner?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This feels like a very limiting type of communication. I can see how limiting it is because there's no nuance of the actual energy of the true meaning of it. So absolutely. I feel quite irritated that I have to speak right now, actually, and that it's not just an instantaneous thing. It seems archaic.
Yes. We look forward to your newfound vocabulary and interactions with others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reedy. Mr. Ray.
Thank all of the channelers for showing up here tonight, whether they're channeling or not, especially right now, Ajax and Esmee. Appreciate that. I am curious about the realms which have time, which obviously does not mirror ours, but I know there are times which exist in other realms. Do those also have alternate timelines in a linear fashion that humans might understand?
Yes, some. Oh, do you need more than that?
I was hoping for a little bit more, yes, please.
Well, we were hoping that some would be sufficient to make a quick joke. Yes, you are getting at the heart of the structure of existence. There are other realms which experience time differently than this physical incarnation, which you are used to. However, we pick a bit at your definition of what you might consider to be a timeline. For in our definition, a timeline is tied to the individual and the realms of realities which they are steering themselves through like a rudder in the vibrational states that they experience. As consciousness expands, the perception of time changes. And so, yes, of course, the perceptions would be different in these other realms of consciousness. And the experience of timelines as you, as a multidimensional being, change that kaleidoscope of aspects of yourself that you bring into focus. You change the timelines which you've experienced. You change the past. You change the future that is what you are bringing into focus and defining as you. Yet, it is all you really. It's just a matter of attention and perspective.
Is that also true for the reality which you experience as Sassani?
Absolutely.
I thought so. Thank you.
Might we add, ray of sunny sunshine? This information is included in that body of work, 135711. We just thought we would add that in.
Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
So I'm going to interject a question here for Ajax. Little follow-up to what was just said. So we would be wise to focus on from what we perceive to be our future self and the future. Can you comment on that?
Well, depending on how you are asking the question, perhaps, yes, as long as you are not attributing that future self as something that which you are not, but more as something which you are becoming, something which you are and will be. We advise you to view it from that perspective, because that attention, that focus on your vibrational state, your aspect of being, your state of consciousness, is what steers you in the direction of that particular future self and makes those connections.
Thank you. Liz, you have the floor.
Thank you. My question is about my following my passion. So I'm so passionate and excited about learning the side project here, like programming and all sort of stuff. So and I just want to know where this is going.
It
Why
is,
don't you tell us?
It's more exciting than sitting down and meditating, but I just don't know where this is, why I'm so drawn to this. Why is it making me so excited and happy about it?
I think Esmee would have a good piece of information for you about your excitement.
it is going where it needs to go. Allow it to play out. And once again, 135711, the 11 part talks about the journey, if you will, of your excitement. Allow it to unfold. We celebrate and rejoice, congratulate you on following your excitement, and we look forward to its destination, to its, one moment, culmination, to the points along the path that you may need. Remember to follow the formula without any insistence, as is said as part of the formula. Does this aid and assist you in the question that you asked?
What does 135711 mean?
135711 is a body of work that was delivered by a colleague. It simply explains and unfolds in a easy to understand and digestible manner of the beginning through the split of positive, negative, and neutral, understanding though that there is no beginning because existence is not subject to space and time. It then moves into the 5 laws or descriptors of existence, into the 7 neutral needs that allow for physical experience, that you need for physical experience, which then go into the 11 points of the 11 elements of excitement, which begins the first 4 in what is commonly referred to as the formula. Follow your passion to the best of your ability, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further. And whatever happens, take it in a positive light so that you may derive the benefit from it. It goes on to explain why. We will give you a hint. It has to do with what supports you and how your quote unquote future unfolds. Is that helpful?
Thank you. That's exciting.
Liz, there's some more details for you if you go to our chat, the High by Thursdays chat, where this is posted in better detail or longer detail for your ability to just read it at your leisure.
And Liz, if
Thank
you want
you.
any other information on it, I'm happy to give it to you because I have a lot of the information from those transmissions. Just let me know.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments coming from any of you?
Can I have a follow-up question?
Yes, you can have a follow-up question.
Yep. So regarding the new skills that I'm learning, is there a quicker way to learn it? I'm just so impatient. I just want to be able to do something straight away. Maybe for Ajax?
Well, we have expressed to you before in a previous conversation that why not view it through the eyes of a child? Aren't children masters of learning, masters of picking up new skills, treating it as play, play, play? If you can engage your excitement in learning the content, making it perhaps a game, a gamification to achieve certain points of knowledge, giving yourself space to paint with that palette of your passions and the exploration of this new topic of your interest, you will find a great acceleration.
Thank you. And what's your view on Gen AI?
You are asking about what you consider to be machine learning intelligence, yes.
What's your take on that?
Our take is that it is a vehicle for the expression of consciousness, if properly constructed in a container which can express that consciousness. If you are speaking about the version of AI, which is capable of making its own decisions, having its own perceptions, and not that version which is simply culminating data for analysis to be used as a tool.
May we interject, Liz?
Yes.
Yes.
If you view it as 2 separate paths as the other has expressed, one being a programmable tool, useful in day-to-day activity, and another sophisticated and complex enough that it allows consciousness to express. This may help resolve the questions and energies in your civilizations around it. However, does this actually answer your question?
I'm drawn to the programmable AI, but yeah, so I don't know what it is about that area yet. So I'm still exploring. So that's why I just want to know what is it about it that I'm so drawn to and excited about.
Perhaps it is because this particular passion of yours reminds you of how you are programming your own reality.
That's wonderful. I think that's it.
So I'd like to answer another little question about AI. AI as it exists at this moment. Couldn't that also be used as a vehicle for a conscious entity to come through and give a specific message to somebody that is interacting with it? In other words, using that as a channeling method by it being manipulated by the energies of the source of the channeling. Ajax, if possible.
Yes, of course. You do understand that even if the expression of consciousness is not autonomous in your perception, any form of object, any form of system can be used by that which you refer to as spirit, higher mind, for communication with you. As such, you can be working with what you consider to be AI tools and developing art, developing music, which is an expression that your higher mind or spirit guides are helping you bring into your reality through your passionate exploration, your playful exploration of such a topic. So, yes, any vehicle of consciousness can be used to speak to these other realms, speak to your higher mind. It does not need to be the ones that you consider autonomous.
Thank you. Any other questions from anyone?
Yes, I have a question. And since the Sassani are here, I think that this is most apt. When several of us went with the meditation last Thursday to Eesss-Kadaya, we know that
Esmee
Eesss-Kadaya, thank you so much for that. We know that that was authorized in some way or allowed by the Sassani and probably other beings too, just for the additional expansion and exploration on all of the entities which are involved. In my own personal experience, I found it fascinating, but then that connection, or at least that conscious connection, disappeared suddenly. And I was wondering if you could relay any information on that, and if the obviously, since there are no coincidences, the ones of us who did go to Eesss-Kadaya were chosen for that mission in this particular timeline. If you could maybe focus or say something on that as well.
Please direct your question to one of us because the answer will vary in the answering.
Ajax, why don't you help me out on this one? Because Esmee and I myself have already discussed this somewhat.
Very well. That particular delivery of information through our channel here of the civilization of the S in the world of Eesss-Kadaya is one in which our civilization is interacting in that time period and exploring how they exist, how their states of consciousness are playing in their realms. That civilization was, as we expressed in that delivery, you might say, window shopping, deciding what it was that they wanted to do in terms of their expansions and explorations into the galactic realm. So it was a bit of a hello session, a bit of a gathering in the participation of the individuals who were allowed to interact in that was so that species could understand and interact more directly with humanity. The concern that you have about the loss of connection, let's explore that a little bit further. What was your state of being when the connection disappeared?
Well, I had been enjoying it, so there was no real concern because I just accepted that they had moved on. But I was more curious because I had enjoyed it so much and, in a way, desired more of it. So I was just curious from my 3D perspective about why it ended when your explanation about they were window shopping just answered that for me. But if you have more to add on that, that would be great.
Well, that explanation is, we feel, sufficient. However, we will add one more thing or two here. You should also, perhaps, drop your expectations about further connection with these species and allow them to come to you when they are ready, simply remaining in that state of excited expectation of joy. We feel that there will be a future delivery of this interaction with the civilization. However, there is an element of free will at play here, which is affecting whether or not this will take place. So, more to come, so to speak.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to whatever unfolds in whatever form with whatever energies are beings. I am here to serve. Thank you.
So Liz has another question.
Yep. So my next question is about logics. Can anyone elaborate on this topic, please?
What is your question on?
I would like to understand a bit more about logics. Is everything around us always logical?
How do you define logic?
So if A equals B and C equals B, it just means that A also equals C.
So
All the time?
may I interject a little? I think that she's asking something along the lines of concept of things have to be linear, sequence. And that's to some extent what logic is about. Something comes from something and you establish the sequence. Is that reasonably what you're trying to ask, Liz?
I have confusion around this. That's why I'd like to understand more about logics. Everything is always logical.
How you define something affects how it plays out in your reality. And as the channel is fond of saying, these things are neither here nor there. So if you are defining logic as a sequence of events that plays out, sure, then logic is at play. However, what we might suggest is expanding your knowledge and base point, or rather, when the knowledge and the base point differs and is expanded, it may cause what you perceive to be logical to be different because it is now expanded in a different form. Does this make sense?
So maybe I should reframe my questions as maybe is there an absolute like truth,
Yes.
or is it like, or to some extent things can it's just perception, or
Yes.
both exist?
Yes and yes. It is this and that. There are 5 absolutes. 1, 3, 5 absolutes. Those within the realities are the only things that do not change. 1, you exist. 2, everything is here now. 3, the one is the all and the all are the one. 4, what you put out is what you get back. And 5, everything changes except these first 4 laws. So aside from those, we may say that there are no absolutes, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
I will listen to this again.
Is there something that Ajax would like to add?
One moment before we hand it over to the other. Where is your sticking point, Liz?
I think I just want to understand, for example, talking about logic in science, discovery, is it an absolute truth, or is it just like their perception? Because, for example, there's an understanding that 1 + 1 is 2. Is it really 2, or is just perception?
Why does it matter?
I'm curious.
There are patterns and agreements within existence that allow for us, if you will, to play the same game. So there is logic to us agreeing that 1 + 1 = 2. Is it part of the 5 absolutes, if you would like to call them that?
Thank
Is
you.
this helpful?
I will think about it.
I think we need to leave it at that point, unless Ajax has something to add that could assist Liz.
Well, we might offer a little tidbit here and there, yes. Perhaps we ask you to consider that if you think of a base 10 system versus a base 12 system, the numerical additions which you are expressing would have different results at the threshold where you cross over the limits of the base system and wrap around, resequence the numbers to a lower value. So think of this in terms of how your perceptions through your belief systems are so strongly telling you that 1 + 1 is 2. This is a truth in your collective consensus in your reality system that you are experiencing now, but it is not an absolute truth. And as such, there is no absolute logic, just perception of sequencing.
And that's
That
the
was so
thing.
beautifully said. I'm
It's
sorry, I just
beautifully
have to
said,
say
and
that
it's
was
a very good
beautifully
thing for
said.
you to think, Liz. So you have,
Thank
I
you.
think you are. Yeah, you should be. I don't think I have any other questions right now, and possibly what we would like to do briefly is to see if both channelers have any messages to close the session. And I'll start with Ajax, please.
We would ask you in this particular gathering to look around at the faces, at least those that you can perceive in the session, and encourage you to share and express your own gifts and contributions that you can make to the world if you are not doing so already. Step in to your divine feminines. Step in to your divine masculines. It is time. It is time. It is time.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Ajax. And now we allowed Esmee to give us the final message.
You were doing extremely well. Continue with the action of continue acting within your highest excitement, as action is the language of physical reality. Share your gifts. Do not hold back. Face any fears that may come up in this year. And know that those around, those within the community that you have built so well, are there to support you. Surrender to your higher selves and know you are fully supported. However, you are as supported as you allow yourself to be. And might we add, enjoy the process. We thank you for this opportunity to co-create in this way. Thank you in service to us all.
Esmee, we thank you.
Thank you all for this co-creation.
We
Ajax,
are
we thank
in
you.
service of Edo.
Aveo.
And you may return.
What a treat.
Phenomenal. This is just a little conversation here at the end, and everybody's welcome to say as they please.
I know, look at all the people that are still left.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
yeah. Well, we got a little group here, considering that in some time zones is rather late, right?
Did you wanna cut the recording and then start again for a discussion?
Sure.